Hello everybody and welcome back to the stream. Today we've got something kind of special. I've got a Paladin here that I've been sitting on for a while, and this was a limited edition model from the Privateer Press line of their exclusive models. There was a monthly subscription, and if you happen to be subscribed for this particular month, you got this model. They don't make this. They pretty much smash the mold after they're finished with it. So any number of these that exist, that's pretty much what exists. So today we will be putting some paint on this bad boy. Or little lady, if you want to. Ooh, I might need to clean that water. It's getting a little bit chunky. So yeah, how's everybody been doing? Go ahead and drop into the comments if you... I got a poll going. I wanted to know if anybody's ever painted a miniature before. I'm curious about these kinds of things because, you know, I want to... It's something that I enjoy greatly, that I've always had as a hobby from my miniature painting days of wargaming. Back in my tournament grinder days. I think I've mentioned this before. No, that has not been mixed well at all. I didn't think that this had been sitting there that long, but apparently this gold is going to take a minute of shaking. So how's everybody doing today? Me, I just woke up. I basically rolled out of bed and started getting coffee about an hour ago. So it has been brief. Been having trouble getting to sleep. Not for any particular reason, just through negligence of my own. Good heavens, this is not mixing at all. Do I have a mixing stick around here? I checked a bunch of the other paints, assuming that they would be fine, but I guess this was the one that's going to be my adversary. Or dig into the bottom of the painting kit. That's a file. I don't want to use that. I got some... So I got a whole bunch of tools here, and apparently the one that I want is nowhere near the top. Professional streamer, by the way. That's a lie. I'm not getting paid for this. We do this for the love of the game. This one might just be past the point of expiration. Ooh. Can you see that? This is what improperly mixed paint does. Normally it doesn't get this bad. If you really want to put some effort into it, I mean, this has obviously been left here for years and years, but there are these little brass balls that you can get that you just drop into the paint, and it'll help you a lot when you're shaking them up. A little bit more shaky. Oh, do you hear that? I think I might actually have one of those brass balls in here. See, I'm not utterly worthless. There. Now that's the color we wanted to see. This is the stuff that big painting channels don't want you to see when you're just getting back into things and gonna mess up everything. Normally, nobody sees behind the scenes, but as an exclusive, as a small streamer, I am here to show you what really happens. When you're just getting back into things. Now, if you've never painted a miniature before, the best thing to do is start with kind of the most deepest recesses of pieces, or the big flat parts. Because especially with metallics, it's probably going to take more than one coat. So if you go at this first coat, by the time that you finish base coating the entire model, it'll be ready for a second one. I can't even remember how much the subscription to the miniature service was. I think it was $60 for the whole year. So it must have been relatively cheap per month. But I just had the 6-month subscription set up, or 6 months or a year set up in perpetuity, and just kind of left it there. And these things just keep showing up at my door. Not this exact model, but different variations. At one point, they switched over to 3D printing the models, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I could do that at home. I just don't have the skill to design the models. Which, if you watched my series on the modeling to 3D printing to painting, you'd see my skill level in designing 3D models. It's not great. I can make it work, but there's no detail. I haven't even figured out rounding yet. So if you wanted to see an isopod absolutely decimated, yeah, we did that. Actually, one of my more popular streams, I assume that people just clicked in and clicked out because the watch time on it is not great. But it's got a lot of clicks. People are a little curious. It's not my problem that I accidentally messed up really early on. There was also that slight inconvenience of forgetting to save for like 45 minutes and then the program crashing. But you know, what artist hasn't? Gonna do these shoulder blades, and then I want to get a little bit of base coating on the flesh to start. I just wanted to see how this gold would look on the model first. One of the other things that I talked about, previous painting stream, was the Kickstarter that I backed for some whole new paints. And I am eagerly awaiting that, even though it's probably not going to be for almost a year. Alright, before we get any more into the weeds of that, let's get more into the weeds of the flesh color. We got a delightful Rin flesh color here that hopefully isn't quite as separated as the gold was. The gold, which happens to be a brass, but I like their brass color a lot more than the gold color. It's not separated, but it's kind of goopy. In that case, where's my wet palette? This is definitely a lived-in space, in case you're wondering. That's why there's just garbage on top of garbage everywhere. I don't have a specific painting area, I just have, you know, the area that I live in. So, let's get rid of some of these tools I'm not using. Slam this bad boy down. get a little bit of... Oh yeah. You'll love to see it. The two forms of paint going bad. Getting chunkier and getting separated. Oh, how'd I do that? Alright, so... getting way up here. All up in her fleshy bits. She does have a little bit of that early 2000s female armor booba armor going on. A little bit more style than substance going on in the chesticle area, if you understand my meaning. She got cleavage. So we don't want to go too thick, but this paint really wants to do what it wants to do, and it's not what I want it to do. Unfortunately, it's my favorite color of flesh tone, so we just get to work with it. Breathe on it, it'll dry faster. Swear. One of my friends from a previous job contacted me today and asked me if I had gotten a letter about a class action lawsuit from our employer, which makes total sense for me. I couldn't imagine them not breaking a couple laws. Just casually, but yeah. I haven't gotten that letter yet, so we'll see if there's a check coming in the mail. What color do we want to do this kind of big sunken gem in here? Does anybody have a suggestion? I've got some greens, I've got some blues, I've got some reds. What will be a nice color for this? There's an orange or a yellow I could try. Drop your recommendation in chat if you want. Also doesn't help that the station's covered in cat hair. Well, luckily it's not my hair. There is quite a bit of that. She has... I'm pretty sure that's a wrinkle, so she doesn't have bare arms. But she might have bare fingers, because I don't see any metal. So we'll hit those two. She got them arm guards, but no gloves. Painting this left hand is a dance with the devil because we're probably going to need to get behind it to paint something. We'll give that a second to dry. We'll move back to the metallic. We'll just start working on. Come on, buddy. I need you to flatten out your bristles. These paintbrushes are relatively new. Paintbrushes don't go bad, so. It's been fun to see the transformation of which of my tools degrade over time. I'm also trying to get better about making sure that what I'm painting is at least marginally within the camera, even if its focus is a little bit, you know. It wants to focus on the desk instead of the model. Does that work? No, not at all. Maybe there's some settings I can mess with, but I don't think it's that good of a camera. Got decent quality, but autofocusing in handcams is a relative joke. Alright, you may notice some extra colors or areas that will require different colors. Probably going with a basic brown for in-between stuff, but if we wanted to match the gem to the rest of the outfit, then we need to figure out what color the cloth is going to be before we go in there. Something that I've learned about painting with metallics is that when you are whatever color you have underneath it is definitely going to influence the way that the color turns out, which is why I exclusively paint over black. Just because of the composition of the metal paint being made of little tiny flakes of stuff, aligning and flattening can have some really, really intense mistakes if you try and go over a lighter color like flesh or white. I just don't like the way that it looks. The face of the shield's probably going to need like 3 or 4 coats. This bit, yeah, we'll just make it gold as well. I was thinking about it right before stream. I should have taken a picture of the Paladin before starting and posting it as the preview picture on Twitter to try and get people in, but of course I thought of that about 5 minutes before stream started, so not really enough time to set up an entire photography shoot. The thing's set up, but it would have been a rush, and I wasn't about that life on today of all days. I've got a little bit of cat sitting I need to do after this. So while I'm not going to be rushing out the door, I can't go too long. And of course, delaying the stream is just not appropriate if anybody actually was sitting here waiting for me to start. Been trying more and more to connect with people on Twitter, but you never know who's trying to get into your DMs to try and sell you something. So while I put the effort into any conversation that comes my way, I have trust issues, I guess. Not helped by the fact that the first couple of DMs that I ever got on Twitter for this account were about trying to sell me something. Twitter is a hell site, and I wish that I could quit it forever. Unfortunately, now I've tied myself to this hobby, so it's kind of expected. Twitter's one of those platforms where the only reason that it's popular is because it's popular, and nobody wants to switch to something else. There's no competitor with fields good enough to overcome people's familiarity and desire to be on Twitter. I refuse to call it X. Should be using the bigger brush, actually. Well, we're kind of going into some detail area, so not the biggest mistake I've made, even on this model. Ooh, speaking of mistakes. Yeah, went in too wet on that one. We're gonna have to wait for that to dry. That decision time for which color I'm gonna paint that gem is quickly approaching. Right after I get all the way up in this business. Oh, I definitely want a bigger brush for this. Here's a fun piece. The back of the shield, the largest area. This thing's going to take like 3 or 4 coats. Can you do it in one? I would not recommend it. Glooping metallics is never gonna look good. One of the skills that I've developed over time is the ability to just know which angles I'm gonna miss based off of what I've missed in the past. So flipping stuff upside down and checking under all the armpits and whatever is just, it's not something that you do normally. And if somebody's painting their first couple of figures, maybe after their first 3, I can almost guarantee you could just pick it up, flip it over, and you'll find a part that got missed. I think that it would be nice to be able to paint airbrushing, but there's a couple problems that I foresee trying to do airbrushing on stream. For one, it's loud. Like, that airbrush puts out a lot of air all at once, and it's just this constant hissing. The next thing that I can foresee would be, well, it's not in this room. So I would need to move my entire station, either the streaming station out to where it is, or the entire airbrushing station into here, which, while there might be room, it's not something that I would be entirely good with. I would need to airbrush a lot of stuff to justify having an entire painting station in my office. And if I wanted to put it into a different room that has the room that is not frequented by anybody, that has both problems of I would need to move the streaming setup and I would need to move the airbrushing station. So I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't. Unfortunately, that limits the size of things that I can paint on stream, because I could spend hours hand painting the base coat for a big model Would it be worth it? Probably not. It would look like shit, especially compared to what the airbrush can just shoot out. She's got a headpiece. It's like a little, almost tiara looking thing. So this is an alternate for the model, the Paladin of the Order of the Wall. Lots of those. For the Protectorate of Menoth. And they were obstinately the goodest of good boys. They were the ones that weren't committing the heinous war crimes and lighting people on fire for the most part. They had a special action that could make them almost indestructible. Very hard to move and very hard to remove from the battlefield. So they were really good at running into somewhere and just sticking themselves on a control point or some such. Digging in and just telling people come and get it. And there was not a hell of a lot of stuff that could remove them. Especially when they first came out. Where everybody started getting all these magical weapons and stuff. Yes. I'm almost certain that I had it as red for other things that I painted for this faction, so that's probably what I'm going to go with. Don't want to leave the cap off of that water bottle. I'm likely to bump it. So we got some Scorn red. Scorn being one of my favorite factions. Their lore was fine, but their tabletop rules were awesome. I wonder if they're still in the game. I can't see them removing an entire major faction that had been in the game since the game was a role-playing game before it was a war game. Game. Oh yeah. Oh, the red never fails me. Gonna take 2 or 3 coats, but it's coming out of the pot like a dream. Oh, I regret this not at all. Yeah, pants. Pants are gonna be probably brown or black. Could be wearing black tights. Huh, I'll just put her in black yoga pants with that white girls wear with the Uggs in the fall. I don't know why that joke made me a little bit nervous when I made it. I plan on making heinous jokes in the future. I guess it's kind of that still new streamer novice mood. Like, my humor in my own head is a lot more filthy. The problem I'm running into is that I don't have anybody here to rebound off of, so it's weird to have that energy on your own, which I guess is a skill that I'm developing. It just doesn't seem economical to waste my best material into an empty crowd, an empty audience. Okay, just a touch of red right over here. Let's red that jewel. Gonna be a little bit careful so that I don't have to go over the cross with black later. At least not as much. There we go. Coming in just fine. I hope you can see it. I might not be painting in the camera. It's hard to tell which, like, I tried to position my my soaking mat underneath so that it would be completely in frame, but when I hold things up, it's hard to tell because I can see things relatively good pretty close, but the smaller you are, the more hunched over you are, the more accurate you are. It's a problem. Let's get some red in the side here where her waist would turn, because that will be made of cloth. It's arguable that she might have a chest plate buried in there, just so she doesn't get stabbed in the chest, but I'm going to bet against it and just make her red. And then we'll give her red sleeves to tie that color in to the rest of the model. Geez, for a melee combatant, she really has that feminine form. Look at the width of that anatomy. She doesn't look like she could lift me over her head and break my spine over her knee, but she probably could. Kinda hot, not gonna lie. Alright. It's coming along. Give it a sec to dry. Just take it all in. Beautiful. That second coat is really filling in some of the black splotches in the recesses of that first coat. Don't want to do too much there because it's going to be in shadow, so it would naturally be a little bit darker. And that is the good thing about base coating in black, is that if you miss a spot, it's a shadow. Whereas if you miss a spot in white, it is very evident very quickly. Yeah, we're just going to have to touch up a little bit on the belt where I got it. Missed a spot, and up in this wrist area. The wrist area at least was on purpose. I didn't want to get in there because I knew that I'd be going past it with the red right afterwards. So I would need to fix it anyway. What color is her hair going to be? Anybody have an opinion on hair color for the little lady? I saw this golem as part of a set on somebody's monthly Kickstarter. I'd backed their stuff before, but I stopped when I went on 3D printing hiatus when my machine was down. And yeah, they have much improved in the time between when I stopped and when I returned. They had this really cool golem, and it was a part of, I want to say 5 or 6 golems, and I just had to have it. And I was going to do it anyway, but when I clicked in, they're like, as a previous donor, you, as a returning person, you could have 1 month free. And it's like, bam, give me them free golems. I showed it to my coworker who's interested in all the nerd shit, and he really liked a couple of them. And because he's been so, I'm not going to say supportive because, I mean, he has, but he hasn't done anything. He's just listened to me yap and been interested in a interested party, which is rare, at least where I'm with the people that I know. And so I wanted to get him something nice, and so I was thinking, oh, you know what I could do? Just print him out that model and paint it on stream. The problem, I think, is that it is a little bit big. And so what I would really want to do is airbrush it. So I could do the detailing on stream, but the base coating would probably be an airbrushing task. Which returns right back to that previous topic of airbrushing on stream being a wee bit difficult because I don't have the setup for it. See, time is a flat circle. It all comes back to not wanting to put the effort in. I'm getting warm in this room. Hang on. All the lights are on. Let me turn on a fan. Much better. The noise suppression gate should keep all of that from going in through the stream. I guess I could check it in post and see how good the noise gating is, but it's fine. You can live with it, at least for this one stream. I'm not going to paint the blade more than is accidental, because the blade itself will, of course, be silver. Speaking of silver, let's see. Silver. I don't know what I would do if I ran out of some of these colors, because at least the metallics from P3 were always excellent, and I never found any direct equivalents as far as ease of use and shades anywhere else. It's possible that everybody else has improved their formulas in the last couple of years, but at least when I was shopping around, P3 was kind of king, in my estimation. Going on a little bit thick, but I don't want to remove any at this point. We'll just let that dry, not touch the sword, and do a second layer at the end. What's next? What could possibly be next? Brown? Brown cloak? It is a beast hide, so... Huh. Oh no, the opposite of what I wanted. Well, it's in there now. So what had happened was the paint will goop up on the inside of the rim over time, and eventually when you pop it open, some of that will stick to the rim a little bit and go in. So that piece, that huge chunk, was just precariously perched on the edge. I tried to grab it and it fell in. And now it's just part of the paint in there. Because I would lose more liquid paint trying to retrieve it than I would ever save, rather than just letting it sit. Hopefully it doesn't act as a crystallizing catalyst, causing more of the wet paint to dry onto it, but I don't think that's how paint works chemically. Though we see the vision that is happening, the good thing about doing all these alternate sculpts of models is some of them aren't incredibly universe specific. Like, for example, it's hard to get generic zombies even in the undead army of Cricks because they're steampunk zombies. So their basic zombie model, the Mechanothrall, has these gigantic fuck off steampunk fists. And so they're kind of, if you're not using a steampunk aesthetic, they're not really going to fit, which is good for bringing the universe together. But as far as generic models are concerned, you really need to be going for that exact thing. If you're going for it, can't really do better. And don't even get me started on any of the warjacks. That is just steampunk dystopia given form. Some of the war beasts, though, in some of the Horde's armies can definitely be transferred over. They don't have steampunky bits as much. They'll have armor typically, but it's easy enough to work around. However, some of these guys are just generic enough to make it work, like this Paladin character. Easy enough to make it a D&D fig. We just don't talk about the Iron Cross on the front. Is that hair or fur? That is fur. To all the VOD watchers out there, what is your favorite D&D class? I would like to hear from you. Are you a Paladin kind of person because it has a baked-in backstory and motivation and moral code to allow you to function, while also debatably having some extremely powerful rules? See, I missed a spawn there. You like a rogue, just stabbing people in the dark, picking some locks, petty larceny. Your entire personality is just a rap sheet. You like druid. You an extremely hippie girlfriend who just wants an animal companion and didn't realize that shapeshifting is such a huge part of the thing, or that you'd have to know so many spells, and why is this class so complicated? I just wanted to have a bear. That's how this usually goes. Are you a ranger? And I have no idea what your class identity really is because you take inspiration from like 6 different sources and none of them have an extremely accurate vision of what the class is supposed to be. So you're somewhere between Aragorn, Legolas, Drizzt, generic fantasy hunter, generic fantasy. I'm not sure what's going on here. Just kind of spooky man in the woods. Are you a bard? Where people typically pick exactly one way to play a bard and meme about it, but you can absolutely just flavor bard in any way that you want and it'll function. So my favorite bard that I ever played, I was power gaming at the time, and so I built a completely optimized healer build that could, like, it was really hard to hit. It was extremely good at healing. Like, that motherfucker could put out healing like it's nobody's business over an area. And so what I did is I themed him after a bog witch. He essentially prayed to a god of cancerous growth and regeneration. And so everybody that he healed, oopsie daisies, inherited hypercancer. But that's not a problem that would ever crop up in the span of an adventure. I told him about it after the adventure had finished, and everybody was like, oh. Well. It's like, yeah, sorry about that. Didn't really think it would come up. Luckily, that adventure ended up being kind of short, so yeah, we never did get to see the consequences of my actions, which is the best way to play a character. If your DM's good, they'll ask you questions and have you solve problems in such a way that is somewhat adjacent but not quite. They'll cause conflict with your character's goals and bonds. That was always fun. Our DM, however, in that game, wanted to tell a story, which is fine, but it was a little bit more railroady than I was anticipating from him. What's next? What are we going to do with this? What is this? I want to say that it's gold, but it's like a goldy leaf kind of thing. Do we want to contrast it with a green? It would go against everything except for the opposite of red. Let's do a little bit of flesh. God, on these large, fleshier surfaces, also known as tits, it is really not taking the paint all that well. Also, the side of her face. Luckily, that side of the face is in shadow. Nobody's ever going to see it, but I'll know. I will know. One of the other things I've kind of been doing on Twitter is passively asking people for feedback, and I've gotten absolutely none of it. I'm trying to boost engagement over here as a small creator, and nobody's having any of my bullshit. I think what I want to do, I want the gold color on the flat surface, and then on the raised area, I'll do a silver. The other thing about glooping paint is you lose these sharp edges, which is a very common mistake to make. Everybody tries to do everything in one pass, and one pass painting is a path to not getting a very sharp model. And this thing has some 90-degree angles on it. It's got the edges in here in the corners, which you can bring back up afterwards using a little bit of ink wash. But you don't want to lose that entirely by just glooping stuff in the corners. I got a missed call just now, and I'm really hoping it's from a telemarketer, not my mom. Because it might be an hour before I get back to her. Have you told any of your family that you stream yet? I've told one family member, my cousin. They're very supportive of it, but I don't want the rest of the fam knowing quite yet. I definitely want to get a little bit more successful before I start boasting. We'll get past some of these beginning steps and then be able to show something successful to the family instead of, oh, I want this, and then just be hounded on. It's like, no growth yet. Haven't even got 10 subscribers yet. We'll get there eventually. The growth is slow, if not steady. Unfortunately, the game that I want to play most, well, so there's two games that I want to play. One I haven't played on the stream yet. I want to play more Arena, which does very poorly in my analytics. And I want to do Helldivers, which requires people, because I don't want to just stream with randos. But I don't know anybody. I have ham-fistedly tried to bait some of the indie streamers that I watched into asking if I stream, or like hinted that that's a thing that I do now, but I have not been successful in getting a reaction out of them. I don't know if they know for sure or not. Possibly, possibly not. And as with most things on YouTube, the options are either have a lot of subscribers or have enough watch time and hours posted to prove that you're a real person. And so I'm waiting for those things, one of those to trigger, before I ask anyone for a collaboration. I know I have that one streamer friend. We could probably get something, but it feels weird even to ask somebody that I know for a collab while I'm still small. And they stream on Twitch, so that's I don't know if that matters. And it's like, do I want to do that before I have a real model? I don't think it's that much of a difference, but it could be as far as brand recognition. Then again, it could be a thing about, like I could do a rebrand, not a rebrand, a debut of a model. Model debuts are a thing. Sometimes gets the crowds in. Do I want the cross to be... Okay, there's three options here. The cross can either stay black, go gold, or go silver. I'm thinking silver circle, black cross. I don't remember if Clair Obscure gets numbers or not. It probably doesn't, because I know that long-form videos do not generally perform well as a blanket statement for YouTube. It is a problem for certain HoloLive streamers that I watch. Oop, little too much silver there on the red. So, here, let me fix that. So then we're gonna need a black. And I have a black, and it should match with this. Not exactly, but it's just a matte black. So in theory, it'll allow me to reclaim the black that I accidentally touched with the brush. God, there's like one hair on this thing that is out of place. Hang on, I really need to... This is pissing me off. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta trim a bush. Am I right, ladies? Oh, I forgot to ask if these sounds okay. I hope so. The model might not be moving today, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't think I switched it over to the other microphone. He'll just be blinking. Because PNG Tuber Plus has options to switch microphones, but you have to do it manually. It's not something that I can program into the Handcam button on the Stream Deck. There we go. All right. And now, because I have a black, I'm gonna need a lighter color. I'm not gonna go full white. I do that enough in my personal life, but I'm gonna use this and just a very small brush, not the smallest that I have, but a very small brush that I throw around the room. And we're just gonna highlight the top edge. That might be too much. It might have been my mom that was calling because now my dad's calling. Alright, let me mute stream real quick. Pardon, be right back. Hopefully none of that came through, but yeah, it was exactly what I thought. Parents are concerned about the cat that I haven't visited yet, and it's like, dude, I just woke up and I have stuff to do before I can go over. So again, apologies. I think I have a BRB screen. I just have never used it. Okay. So that went on a little bit thicker than I wanted. So we're going to keep going back and forth on stuff. What I kind of want is for it to just darken a little bit all over. So can I get away with just really lightly, yeah, kind of like that. Just removing a little bit of the gray with some black. Okay. I'm not unhappy with that. That needs another layer on the visor. I can see it already. Good. Oh, since I have the blackout. Blackout. Friggin' mood. Let's touch up these thighs. Oh my god, why is there always a little bit of water on the tip? Do I keep the black hair? Do I switch it to something else? What are we thinking? Black hair? Black hair is not out of place. We could... Can I blonde it? I think I can make blonde with these three colors. Need a bigger brush. Bigger brush. But yeah, that was my parents calling because I hadn't been over to their place yet. They were probably looking on the camera, waiting for movement. Didn't see any. And wanted to make sure that I was alive so that I could go and take care of their cat. But since I couldn't get to sleep very easily last night, I ended up staying awake until super late, so I set my alarms back by 2 hours. Enough so that I would be awake and caffeinated for stream, but unfortunately didn't leave time for me to jet over there and feed her before coming over. And so after this, I'm gonna go over there, spend some time, hang out, maybe watch a movie, feed the cat. Hey, this tan's not coming out bad at all for a blonde. Time is it? It's a little bit early for me to be failing to talk a little bit. What's going on with you? Get in the comments. Tell me if your parents have ever asked you to do something and then kept badgering you about it if you didn't do it right away. It's got to be a common experience. Unless you're an orphan. I'm going to switch to the smaller brush to get the detail on the side of the head, because this is, of course, blonde hair now, but also tiny. Yeah, not awful. Alright, careful. Hope this section could go very wrong very quickly. It's not bad with just one color. Might keep it like that. Let's see if we need to do more later. Oh, speaking of Magic Arena earlier, I was watching a video about hobbies that are unattractive, and apparently Magic the Gathering specifically was listed as one of the top contenders, and it's like, come on, dude. That's harsh. Why you gotta yuck my yum like that? I mean, I'm sure it's not a pussy magnet, but, like, it can't be that bad. Besides, wouldn't you want a hobby where your significant other, you know where they are for the most part, you know the kinds of people they're going to be hanging out with? Maybe that's not the best example, But like, you know where their money's going. They're not doing drugs, alcohol. They're not on the street. They're at the local game store on Fridays playing Friday Night Magic. They got their strategy game. They can do a bunch of silly stuff with it. Why don't you just get interested in their hobbies, huh? You just want to learn, get interested in something that they want to do. Sounds like the basis to a good relationship to me, but what do I know? See another missed spot. Alley-oop. Haven't done the handle of this thing yet. Let's do that in a slightly brighter brown. The one with the cracked lid. Go in it with this bad boy. There we go. It's coming along. Ooh. Now I want the detail brush. There is a touch, just a very small bit of leather on the belt that's showing. Yeah. Just like that. Let's do that second coating of the silver we were talking about earlier. Man, I have not done enough to tweak my algorithm on YouTube for this account yet, because I've been getting a lot of movie previews, which is not entirely the interest that I normally click through on. But it's different enough from other profiles that I've used that I am kind of interested, because I wouldn't normally see movie previews. So, not the worst thing. Okay. We really have to make a decision about this, the filigree on the cloth part. Do we just want to make it golden? Because it's, right now it stands out in my mind. Make it like a gold clothy filigree kind of thing. Nothing else really makes sense, because I don't want it red. I don't want it silver. Blonde. I could go either way on the blondness. So we're just gonna make it gold, since nobody else had any better ideas. And the backside of water. And can you see the bottom of it? Not even really. Okay. Good enough. Let's do some 3D work. All right, flesh wash. Important part of every model's journey. Well, every model with flesh, I guess. Just a drop will be fine. Start with the most important part of this model, the Fey Booba. It really brings out her eyes. Can you see it? Do you see? I hope you can see that. It's a little bit small. I don't think that I can do much about that. I'm waiting for the VOD to catch up. It's hard to see. It looks darker in real life. You'll see it in the photos. But they always look pale as hell until you give them the flesh wash. Why are you so runny? Cool. So then, the other wash. The armor wash, which is used for everything else just about. Arguably more important than the flesh wash, because flesh wash is good for flesh, armor wash is good for everything else. Brushes are already getting a little unruly. Alright. Again, this might not be super visible right now. Because I've got a bright light shining on it, but it's going to darken and sink into all the crevices to make the low points look lower. Which should give depth to the filigree, the angles, things that are just kind of filled in. Anything that has a shadow should catch the wash and gain a shadow out of it. It's like outlining in regular drawing. Those black outlines that separate the colors. Used to call it skill any can because if you look at before and afters of when we used to use the wash, things look significantly better once you've kind of differentiated the shadows with it. And you can always go back in, and I'm going to, and raise back up some of the raised areas. And this shield I was talking about earlier. My painting is a little bit like pirate software programming. It looks relatively impressive to people who don't know how unimpressive it is. And the best part about that joke is that small creators are allowed to punch up. If he comes after me, he's not gonna do anything. Go ahead. Send people my way. They will adore me. I merely need to find my people, my crowd, my viewer base. And then I'll be all set. I don't know why, but this music reminds me a little bit of Christmas. I think it's because we used to do the Christmas log every once in a while when we were opening gifts. And this is exactly the kind of smooth jazz that they would do. I'm gonna glob it all over the cloak because I want a lot of coverage. I'm not concerned too much about detail on it. And when it's dry, you'll be able to see it sunk in all over it. I just need to remember to not touch it for 10 or so minutes. There. A little better. In my estimation. Now I could have done this part down here in silver if I had thought about it. But we're not going to redo it now. It's too late. And somebody might be saying it's not too late, it's never too late. Well, I don't know that song, so there you go. Speaking of songs, want to do karaoke at some point. I just don't know how. I got a background that I drew that I could use for put behind the model while singing. It'll look metal as hell. Not enough. But yeah, I don't know what programs people use to make their things look fancy. And I've heard from like 2 people that I know personally that the sound settings are fine, but I would like somebody who knows a little bit more about sound to let me know if the sound settings are awful or not. Now let's go back in with the red over the top of, we'll go smaller. Over the top of these sections that have just been washed to bring up the raised areas. We're just doing some highlighting with the base color because we're not too terribly concerned. It's just good habit to, after you lower the low points, to raise the high points. Yeah, it didn't really work out the way I wanted it to. It's fine. It's on the inside. Nobody's going to see it. The good thing about going from color to wash to the same color is that it blends really well. You don't gotta spend a lot of time mixing or anything like that to get the next shade up. It looks better in person. I'm just gonna keep throwing the camera under the bus for why it might not look that good. I mean, it's fine. I don't even think I got this area very well with the wash. It's fine. Everything is fine. Do I have a pink? I do have a pink. I could make this slightly reflective. This is probably going to ruin the gem, but... smaller. Again, one hair out of place, and it's messing me up. Let's take a scissors with these. Dry brushing. Not trying to dry brush, it's just the brush is getting dry really quick. The fan could have something to do with this. Yeah, I don't think this is working out. Let's try... Got this. This contrast paint. We used it before on the wings of the Doodlebop, the dragons. And so now we're going to see if it can gemify this gem. All right, we'll see how reflective that ends up looking. in the end. I think what I want to do is just glob a little bit more. If I create a tight reflective shell over the entire thing, then we'll just call it a gem. And it'll be... We'll just say that's what we intended. Nobody checking the Facebook... nobody checking the Twitter and seeing the after pictures is gonna know that we messed that up. Okay, are you relatively dry? So let's, where's that lighter brown? What did I do with you? That's the blonde. Ah, right. It's the one with the broken cap. Okay, so let's come in here with this lighter brown. We're gonna do some dry brushing. That off to the side. Dry brushing is, of course, you put paint on the brush, then you remove as much paint from the brush as you physically can get, and then you drag it across. And what that does is it only colors the tips, the raised areas, which gives it the other side of the 3D look. So we've already recessed all of the sections from before, and now we're raising up the highlighted areas. We want to spend a little bit more attention on the stuff that can be seen from God, from straight up, because that's where the highlights would be the brightest anyway. Then we just kind of follow our heart. You picking up what I'm putting down here? Can you see that? I can't tell if you can see that. There's a slight delay. Can I increase the playback speed to get closer to... Yeah, you can see that. I recommended this camera to another streamer. It appeared on their throne, and so I just straight up bought it for them. And I'm hoping the next time they do a hand cam, they'll be using it, and I can be like, ha, I did that. Does it feel good to use high-quality equipment recommended by peers? I'm a peer now, at least a contemporary. Hopefully not a rival. Alright, we've got some good highlights on the cloak. The problem that I have with the armor watch is it is a little bit more glossy or satin than I prefer. So do I have somewhere a matte finish? Let's see. Acrylic ink. Nope. Acrylic ink. Nope. Cat might not be on blue on that one. Blue. Some resin. Dang it. I thought that I had some matte finish. All I've got is some gloss varnish, which would make it the problem much worse. I need some matte varnish. But that's a problem for a different day. I think I got some red on this gold. So now that everything's a little bit more dry, we'll go back and touch up some of these areas where the brush skipped and jumped and got a little paint where it's not supposed to be. This will also raise up the edges of the gold, which, just like the red, is exactly what we want. We want the raised edges after the wash to pop more. One thing that I think is kind of funny on Twitter, when you make a post, I'll get like 3 views, but when I respond to that same post with the update on how the stream went, it'll get like 40. Okay, that's too much liquid. So I don't know what the algorithm is saying about engagement, but apparently that might be the way to go. Gotta figure it out if I'm gonna make a splash. If I want to be discovered, which I guess I do. That is the goal, right? Get discovered, become famous, earn a lot of money, have people know your name, get invited to big collabs, have fun with people, get into Twitter drama, lose your entire career based off of a misunderstanding from a tweet from years past. That's the pipeline, right? There are definitely some streamers that I don't watch because I feel like they're too close to the way that I do things or would want to do things. Like if somebody is completely different than me, then and it still jives, then I'll watch them. But sometimes it's like I don't know, they're just too close. It's like you're just me, but more successful. You just got into the game earlier, and I feel like if we had switched places, I could do just as good a job. And I want to be famous. Make me famous. Tom Cruise, make me famous with your witchcraft. That looks like it could be gold. Bring back up this section which got touched by silver, which it shouldn't have been. That area got touched by brown, which is just a consequence of life. This too. You can't sweat it. You're gonna touch parts that you've already finished and have to retouch them up. That's just painting. Are any of my hairs visible? Yeah, you can see hairs on the top of my head. You're getting an idea of how long my hair is in real life. behind the scenes. Shocking, I know, but I might have extremely long hair that the model just doesn't show. Sorry for breaking the kayfabe like that. Here. Tuck it back under the headphones. We can just say that that never happened. My immersion. Let's get a little bit of I think I have a slightly darker skin tone. Somewhere in here. Maybe. That's a way darker skin tone. Maybe I don't. Maybe I don't. I was gonna touch up the ears and make them a little less pink, but I don't want to go all the way that far. All right, what are we missing? Just detail work at this point? Just going back over stuff. Could make my parents happy and a little bit earlier. Nope, that's blonde. That's not gold. There we go. There's a little spot of black that has been pissing me off for a while, and of course I just put a bunch of water into my black. Which is the opposite of what I want to do when I'm trying to fix color. There. That'll dry matte. Do the same thing on the other side. Ah, there's a little bit just way in the corner there. You probably won't be able to see it, but you'd see it in real life. It's like one strip of armor, very deep, deep, deep on the inside, that I have managed to get flesh color all over. Heck, it might even still be, since this is the deepest recesses, it might even still have some of the wash on it, undried. And then on the other side, that's probably hair. Looks like a lock of hair has drifted down on the other side. So we'll just touch. Just a touch of blonde, one little lock. Coming down slightly from behind her head. Get that color all up in there. Get as deep in there as I go on a first date. Am I right, fellas? Ha 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 ha. Oh dear. I've lost a female viewer sometime in the future. Okay. How's that gem turning out? That actually would be a good place for the gloss varnish. Come on, you rat bastard. Do what I want you to do. Now, putting a ton of gloss varnish into the water is definitely not ideal. And I'm relatively certain that the gloss varnish is toxic, so I don't want to be licking my brush anymore. But if we just a little bit right in there. Now, the uncured stuff looks bluish, but when it dries, it's going to come out very much clear. Use a smaller brush to spread it. Ayo. Just to make sure that we got the entire gem. We're not missing the tiniest little bit in a corner that would bug me to the ends of time. Yeah, see, like right here? Didn't get there. Okay. So that'll dry. That'll dry flat. And that'll dry glossy. I pray. Can you see it? Does that look like a big old gem? Because we're doing it to the small gem too. There. The underside of the helmet I missed. Just a tiny bit using the tiny brush. Is this the tiniest brush that I have? There is one. Nope, that is in fact the tiniest brush. I end up holding my breath during detail work because I don't want to breathe and mess myself over. That is something I've done before. Just breathe and my hand goes wild by a millimeter, but when you're working with tenths of a millimeter. Yeah. You know where it didn't pool? The flesh wash. I can see where it didn't pool. Underneath the chin. It wants to sink deeper in, which is not what I want it to do. Probably fine now. What happened to the flesh? Where's my flesh? That's carnal pink. What happened to my flesh? Oh my god. What have I done? Ah! Am I blind? Ah. I moved it way off camera to be on its own. Because I got just a little bit on the ear that looks like it didn't get a good coating. Now this is the brush where one hair out of place will absolutely fuck up the entire thing. Okay. No, don't dry like that. Mistakes were made. Corrections will soon follow. There. Probably. Am I getting lost in the weeds, or am I trying to burn 10 minutes? Yes. I think we're pretty much done. There's not really much more I could obsess over. This is all technically correct. I mean, I could keep touching up gold bits forever. And it definitely has diminishing returns after a point. It's also detail work that I need to kind of pull off camera to see very well. We'll just do one last coat of gold along the sides of this thing. Do I need another one on the back? Probably. It's not a job for this brush. It's a job for this one. No. The back of the shield is dark, and that's the excuse I'm going to use till the end of time. Ain't nobody going to see this bullshit. Those are metal straps. Don't question it. Anyway, I'm going to start putting my brushes away now, as that is probably where I should call it. We've done a lot of good work today. I have paint all over my hands, but she looks pretty. Pictures to follow. Go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter if you've not done so already. Follow, like, comment, subscribe on this if any of this is interesting. Say your favorite part, if it was the babbling, if it was the tutorial, if it was just having something on in the background. Please tell me what to do better. Other than that, I don't know what I got more. So, don't have a schedule for next week prepared yet. I haven't got my work schedule yet. But yeah, once that's all settled and fine, I'll consider making a schedule on time for once. Not likely. Other than that, probably expect Expedition 33. Most likely another Handcam. We'll see if we can get another Lego set. Go and travel. I heard that Costco has them. So we might be able to make a trip over there, see what we can get. Yeah, thanks for coming. And please leave your feedback in the comment section below. And other than that, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.